this is how you're going to quit porn. I'm going to make some assumptions about you really quickly. So I'm assuming you're 15 to 24 years old, and I'm assuming you're going to want to quit porn, okay? And this is relevant because I used to be in the exact same boat as you, and I wasn't able to quit for years. I started when I was 12 or 11 watching a video of Gianna Michaels, and for years, I wasn't able to quit. And then I changed my life by quitting, and I've also helped many other people quit and change their lives as well. This is all done through the system called AUSTS. You can remember it because it's almost like autist, okay? AUSTS. The system right here. And I'm going to save you some time, okay? This isn't going to be one of those videos where I go over brain scans and, well, watching porn is bad for you because of the dopamine thing. You already know that. You've probably already watched other videos, okay? It's very obvious, and it's very obvious to me, that simply knowing it's bad for you doesn't do anything for you. Because, you know, you can show all the scientific studies or whatnot, but it's not really getting at the core issue that will make you quit. I will make you quit. Assuming you listen to me, because I'm going to target the actual root of the addiction, which is something I'm going to talk about later. But anyways, the first thing you have to do is actually accept it. So this is the average, fapper, right? They're like, well, it's not really that bad for me. I do it in moderation. I could quit if I wanted to. You cannot have this mindset. I'm going to go over this first because I do not want any copers getting 15 minutes in this video going like, oh yeah, that's cool, but I could quit if I want to. Think about who you want to be. You want to be the man, right? I don't know what you specifically, maybe you want to live on a farm somewhere, maybe you want a bunch of money. I don't know what you want, okay? But you want to be the man, whatever that is to you. Does that guy jerk off? Does that guy have any interest in porn? Probably not. So the first A in AUSTS is acceptance. You have an addiction. Totally fine, bro. I used to have it. A bunch of other people used to have it. And the best part about this addiction is not like a meth addiction where your face is all messed up for the rest of your life. No. You can literally reverse the effects in weeks. Okay? Now, AUSTS, the U and AUSTS is uproot the nature of the addiction. So you have to first figure out how addiction works. So this fat dude, right? This fat dude clearly eats too much food. What's his issue? Why is he so fat? Everyone just thinks, well, it's because he really likes food and he just eats a bunch of food. That's why he's fat. And that's the surface level explanation. But I'm telling you to look under towards the iceberg. Okay, the truth is, every single addiction, every single issue that you have, including physical ailments, begins in the mind. Okay? He's not addicted to food because food is tasty. He's addicted to food because it helps him cope with an issue in his mind. Okay? You watch porn because of an issue in your mind. That's why you can't stop it. Okay? You understand how the brain works. The brain is not just this physical thing full of chemicals. Okay? That's not the way to think about it. Maybe scientifically, well, actually, it's full of chemicals. Sure, whatever. But I'm talking about the way to look at it. For example, those people in my 600-pound life, they always have like tragic upbringings of like trauma. Like, oh, mom doesn't love me, right? Since where the mom does something like that, right? And then they eat a bunch of food. Okay. Why? Why do they eat all of this food? I mean, in theory, it doesn't even make much sense because, how does eating food heal the wound? It doesn't, right? But they never will because they don't really embrace it. They're just like, oh, mom doesn't, no, take it away. They just push it aside, and then they're left with a big gaping hole in their soul, right? And then they want something to make them feel safe, because mom isn't going to make them feel safe. And then they're like, and some people pick different things. Some people go to drugs. Some people go to toxic relationships, etc. These fat people, they go to food. So food is filling up the hole that was left by their mother's lack of love, right? But you can fill in this hole by acknowledging the problem, and then the hole doesn't become this massive big black hole that you can't really understand. It's kind of like, what? And then you just go to eat food. No. You start seeing it. You start seeing it's only a thought. It's just a thought. it has no power over you inherently just by being a thought. So you start being in control. And then you could stop the addiction. So everyone who tries stopping addictions with willpower, and I'll talk more about this later, are retarded because they're not even going at the real problem, okay? It sees things through symbols. Okay, so for example, a cross. The cross wasn't started by Christianity, although that's obviously the most well-known use of it. A bunch of other societies before Christianity used the cross symbol. Another example is a swastika, although I'm not going to write that out because, what that's associated with. The happy face, the sad face, the home. If you see a house in a dream, for example, that doesn't represent a literal house most of the time. It usually represents your mind because it's a symbol of the mind or a symbol of the body, the temple. That's why the Bible calls it a temple, right? These are symbols. That's how your mind thinks. And given that, you have different parts of your mind. So you have your conscious mind. This is what you're using right now. Most of you guys only think with this, conscious mind. You have no idea what's going on in about 95% of your brain. Right? This is only 5%. Your conscious mind is only 5%. Your subconscious, which includes all this other stuff, which I'm not going to get fully into this video because I don't want this video to be 2 hours long. But for this subject, I think really only two relevant things are subconscious mind, the base subconscious mind, and the anima. They may wonder, what the hell is the anima? The anima is the female version of your brain, a female version of you. It's like the female side of you. And you may wonder, well, I'm really masculine, so I don't have that problem. It's not a problem. Obviously, if you're too feminine, that is a problem, but you need feminine traits like nurturing, creativity, etc. These things are technically feminine. So those are parts of you that you have to integrate, which we're going to get more into later. But you have to understand, these are parts of your brain, okay? And you have to think about it like they all have to be in good communication. So your subconscious will communicate to your conscious, which includes your anima and stuff, through symbols. So make sure you dream of a house being destroyed. That's not literally a house being destroyed somewhere else. It's your body being destroyed, which is your mind telling you, hey, you're destroying yourself in some way. You understand? That's a good example. So think about your subconscious. You can't really talk to it. You can't talk to it, but usually if you haven't tried it, you can't really talk to it, but it tries talking to you, right? And it talks to you in a lot of different ways, which this is very important for later, okay? Now, keeping in mind that symbols are very important and your brain communicates the symbols, you can talk to symbols. You can talk to characters in your mind. So a great example of this is this. You know what this is. I don't even have to write out the words. I don't have to tell you what it is. You know what these two colors represent. What I want you to do is just look at the abstract idea of this. Okay, just look at the word and talk to it. I know it seems a bit weird, but trust me, this is going to change your life. Talk to it in your mind and be like, why do I enjoy you so much? Why can't I quit? And 99% of the time, you know those memes that go like, I just want to be happy, as just showing some guy or a comment section on a video, and someone just says this. This is basically saying the underlying issue of the addiction, and usually has to do with being lonely or wanting a girl, okay, which is the animal. You basically feel disconnected from the ideal woman you want in life, even if you're in a relationship, because you don't feel like that woman is fulfilling your mental image of what a woman should be, which is your animal. So what I want you to do in this first step, which you're uprooting the nature of addiction, you're really getting at the roots, okay? I want you to explore. It's like a big house. Your mind's like a big house. Go through all the doors, what's my experience as a woman? Why do I feel lonely? Why do I want a girl so bad? You need to answering these questions for yourself so to start understanding the addiction, start creating a battle plan so you can defeat the addiction. Understand? So a very important aspect of dealing with your anima is integrating the anima. So how do you integrate the anima? How do you integrate the female version of yourself? You don't paint your nails. You don't put on makeup. None of that stuff. But you start embracing more quote-unquote feminine traits. But you integrate them in a masculine way. And that's the way I would put it. So, for example, showing more love. You show more love to Jesus, your mother, father, your kids if you have any. I don't know. I made this for 15 to 24-year-olds. I'm talking about kids. I don't know. Maybe not some girl. Anyways, mercy. Show more mercy to others. Be more nurturing of others. Be more creative. Make art. Stuff like that. So I'm not telling you to become a total fag. Don't become a fag. But start embracing these traits more, and you realize this is basically you becoming more whole, right? Because if you just act more on the masculine side, which is like logic, force, etc., when you're just doing that 100% of the time, it's like you are ignoring another part of, like a part of your mind. So you're split, right? It's like you got one side, which is what you're embracing, and you have the other. And the thing is, this other wants to be embraced, right? So it basically just starts messing with this side because you're not in control of it. So that a lot of the time manifests in a porn addiction, other addictions like food. So actually, I'm going to talk about that now with the S in AUSTS, okay? The big lie. The big lie. The big lie is discipline. Willpower. These are lies. Okay, and more specifically, not that these things don't exist and they aren't useful, but more like the way they tell you to use these things. Okay, I'm going to give you an example here. Let's say Tom. Okay, Tom and Phil. They both get the same job. Phil hates his job. Phil never wants to clock into work. Phil has to use all of his willpower just to get in. Tom loves his job though. Tom will go to work every single day, even without pay, because he just loves it, right? Who has an easier time getting to work? Obviously Tom. Phil is just going to hate his life because, sure, the first few times he will use the willpower, but every single time, the willpower bar goes down, down, and down, down, and down. So would you rather be Tom or Phil? Obviously Phil. Obviously Tom. You don't want to be Phil. So you want to be like Tom, but why don't you reframe your entire life to be like Tom? I know you don't, because you watch it, you go like, discipline, hustle, do this stuff. It's an important skill to develop, but you're just wasting all your willpower on stuff you don't need to use it on. Alright? So let's go back to this fat dude. Instead of addressing the mind, doctors will be like, well, we'll give you some pills, and then you can start, like, it'll suppress your hunger, and it'll make you burn fat or whatever. That's like willpower. Using willpower is like having a doctor feed you pills when you're just eating too much food. You're not going at the core issue, which is the food as a result of the mind. Don't use willpower to quit. Instead, reframe the battle to where you're winning. Okay, if you know anything about chess, you know there's winning and losing chess positions. When you go into the game going like, okay, well, I'm going to use willpower, you're in a losing position, bro. But if you go into the game saying, okay, I'm going to reframe the situation, I'm going to put myself in a winning position before I even try, then you're going to win, right? So you don't utterly fail. Let's go back to your dream life. You want to be the man, right? Start thinking, just start mentioning some things you want. I'm going to give you a magic wand, okay? You can do literally whatever you want. Start mentioning a few things like, oh, well, I want this car, or I want this relationship with God, or I want that life, I want this money, or whatever. Whatever you want, okay? Again, porn has no part in that. But now I'm going to use that to describe something very important to you. Because porn has no place in your dream life, you don't actually want to watch porn. You don't actually want to do any of this stuff. So guess what? Tom wants to go to work, so it's easy for him. When you don't want to do something, it's harder to do it. So see what I've done? I've showed you don't actually enjoy porn. Plus, think about the last time you watched porn. You're probably just like, and then you came and you're like, well, I wasn't even that great. That's how it is. That's how it is after the first 5 times. You don't even enjoy it. You don't enjoy it. You don't want it. So why use willpower? Would you shoot yourself in the foot? No. You don't need to use any willpower to stop yourself from getting a gun and shooting yourself in the foot. You don't want to do it. It's the same thing with porn. And I'm telling you very quickly about triggers. Okay? You've already seen this, but chances are you probably don't even listen to the advice. Why do you use Twitter? Why do you use Instagram? Why do you use all these platforms? Why do you use YouTube, Shorts, TikTok, Snapchat if you still use that? YouTube algorithm, YouTube recommendations, all of this stuff is just poison because guess what? You can be scrolling through Twitter, you see posts about Trump, oh yeah, Trump 2024 or whatever, right? And then you go into the comments and there's some girl on OnlyFans who's advertising the work, you see their boobs bouncing all over the place. And you may say at the time, well, I have willpower, I'm not going to do it. But guess what? Your mind, what it takes in, it deposits to the back of your mind, the subconscious. And guess what? Your subconscious talks to your conscious, like I explained earlier. So at some point, you're like, remember that girl on Twitter? Oh my God, those things were so amazing. Those are magnificent milkers. And then you end up doing it, okay? So get rid of the triggers. I don't recommend using any platform but YouTube with Unhook installed. Unhook is something that deletes the YouTube algorithm. Basically, you have to search or look at subscribe channels for videos. That is going to help so much because you're not just get this random stimulation of girls and whatnot. Plus, it's also better for your mental health, bro. You don't need to be consuming all these opinions all the time, especially from really stupid people. Now, we're going to go into T of AUSTS. Okay, remember AUSTS? Right, T. The devil's zone. So every time you relapse, I guarantee you, you're in the devil's zone, okay? Think about the last time you were really focused, like you were playing basketball, you were playing some other sports, and you're playing, like, when you're in the middle of being really focused at something, do you randomly think, oh, yeah, I think I really want to watch porn right now? Never, because you're focused, you're doing something, right? Think about when you're asleep, or you're super relaxed. I think about the last time you really relaxed, like, life's going great, and relax. You didn't think, oh yeah, let me go watch porn. Never. When you're in these zones, you never think about porn. But when you're bored, you don't have anything to do, you're not focused on anything, but you're not relaxed. Kind of just thinking, you're not really doing anything. You're like, oh yeah, I should watch porn. That's when demons come at you. By the way, if you're a Christian, it's going to be ways you quit porn because you have a relationship with Jesus, so your soul, your whole entire body can start getting cleansed. But even if you're like an atheist or something, which means you're kind of low IQ, but even if you are that, this will work for you. But when you're in this boredom zone, that's when demons attack you, bro. That's when you're most susceptible. You're basically just a loser at that point because you're bored. Well, you should never be bored, ever. And the reason why is because everything relates back to purpose. If you have a purpose, why would you ever be bored? If my purpose is making videos like this to help people like you, how am I ever going to be bored? There's always work to do. There's always new video days to come up with. There's new thumbnail ideas. There's a bunch of other stuff. I have people I'm working with. There's always something to do. So there's no reason to be bored. However, many of you guys, I ask you, what is your life purpose? What are you on this earth for? You're going to say something like, well, I don't know. Or some people, I could get this answer. Like people who don't know, they say something like, well, I want to make a lot of money. Well, guess what? That's not a real purpose because purpose, I'm going to tell you, I wasn't expecting to talk about this video, but I guess it's coming along. There's 4 realms of existence. Spirit, which is basically when you go to heaven, that's where you are. That's Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, the angels, etc. You can't get there because you're flesh bound, okay? But then there's the spirit, and then there's the astral, which is emotional. Emotion. Then you have the thoughts, which is the mental. And then you have physical. Okay? Guess what? Money is the physical realm. So these are all the realms of existence. Your purpose is all the way down here. You're basically just a bot, okay? Meanwhile, if you have a purpose like, yeah, I want to change the world. For me, I want to help people. I want to help them grow. That's here. Because you're affecting minds. You're affecting emotion. And most of all, I want to bring people to Christ, and I want to go to heaven myself. That's my greater purpose. So, you see how I'm all the way up here, and all these people saying, oh, well, I just want to make a bunch of money, are down here. But guess what? I'm not here telling you, well, money is bad for you. Never make money. You have to go be broke. No. I make money. And I don't have to work. Well, I mean, this is my work. But you see, I don't even frame things as work and not work. I mean, I just do what I want all day. Because I understand money is an asset. But money comes easily when you focus on these, okay? Emotion, thought, spirit. When you focus on these things, because everything comes from above, when you simply focus on the higher realms, you'll get whatever you want in physical. It becomes easier to work out. It becomes easier to make money. It becomes easier to quit porn. You understand? So everything is purpose. Your purpose has to be higher than you. And ideally, your greater purpose should be going to heaven, see the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit, and all its glory. And then your purpose under that, which is connected, because for me, yeah, sure, I am helping people get jacked, make money, quit porn, etc. But in reality, it's all to just get closer to God, right? The highest realm. But under that, this is my vehicle. This is how I'm going to get there. This is how I do it. And this is totally astral and thought. Okay, sure, it's physical means, videos, etc. And I make money, all that stuff. But emotion and thoughts, that's the main thing I'm targeting. So when you think of your purpose, that's what you have to target. And guess what? When you have your purpose, you will get out of this boredom zone and you will simply live either relaxed, where you're focusing and meditating and visualizing in this realm, or you're totally focused on your purpose. That is how you get out of the devil zone. And that's how you conquer all sin in general and addiction. And let's go over quickly to transmutation. All right, so I don't know where the last S is from, to be honest. AUSTS? Oh, wait, no, because I think, okay, the sexual transmutation. There we go. I misspoke. So that's the S. Now, this is really important. Really important, okay? This will be a bit difficult to start. It's a skill you have to develop, okay? So let's say you're horny, right? You're a horny dude. This guy's named horny because he's horny, all right? When you're horny, don't you feel like a certain type of energy? I mean, sure, it's like totally directed at, I'm going to see boobs right now. But you have this fire, you have this energy, right? That's feeling. Right? And that's astral. That's emotional. Fire. Well, I'm not an alchemist. Okay, I mean, I see alchemy as symbolic. Okay, so that's just a note for like, wow, vanquish, like one of these Christian YouTube channels, and like, vanquishrocha, this guy, he's actually like a magician. He talks about magic in his video. I'm not talking about magic. He's using this as an example because this is very easy to understand. I've taught people this and they're able to get what I'm talking about. And water is like thoughts. Okay? So that's mental. And when you boil water, what comes out is vapor, right? And vapor leads to action. Physical. You understand? So this is how the realms all work in synergy. They're a symbiotic relationship. So when you're horny, you have fire. And the thing is, when you're horny, you're also charging, like, you're thinking of boobs. So you're putting you're putting water on top of fire, and then you get the vapor, which is you being super horny and then going to watch porn. But guess what? You have control over this. This is how you transmute. You just simply change the pan on the stove, and this could be something like your purpose. Or this is what the saints used to do. You put the focus on God, which doesn't anything do. And then you keep the fire, but you change the thoughts, right? And then you get different vapor that isn't you being horny, instead of you being, I'm not going to use that phrase, but it's like you using the energy for work, for God, etc. You understand? That's how you transmute. You keep the fire, you keep the flame, but you just change the thoughts. You redirect the thought. And I know this is very hard. It's a skill that you have to develop. Once you master this, you'll literally be able to accomplish anything you could ever want. And you could accomplish it without doing this, but this will make it so much easier, because this type of energy, this sexual energy, is really good for creativity. And after a certain amount of time of doing this, after a certain time of streak, I don't like using the term streak, but after a certain amount of time of doing this, it will happen naturally. So guess what? No longer going to be a horny bastard. Instead, you're going to be a working bastard. Believe me, that works. Now, I'm going to go over something really quickly. So, a lot of you guys might be wondering, well, and actually, this is very important. You have to separate jerking off from porn. Okay? I understand some of you guys might be Catholic or have your certain reservations about jerking off. And if you do, then that's totally fine. I'm not here telling you should do this. And ideally, you wouldn't have to do this, but I want to give you an example. Like, think of porn like meth. And jerking off like crack. Let's say you're addicted to both of them. Quitting both at the same time is going to be a really difficult task. But if you just try quitting one, the really bad one, I mean, I guess both are bad. And both are bad because you're basically just wasting your sexual energy when you jerk off. But one is clearly worse than the other, right? So I guess maybe kind of like beer, something like that. One is clearly worse than the other. So if you can quit one while still kind of leaning on the other one, so instead of watching porn, you just jerk off. That will help you quit porn, and then eventually that'll be out, and then you could just attack jerking off on its own, and then you get rid of that. So you do one at a time instead of going at both at the same time. Now, you don't have to go one by one, but if you feel like that would be easier, you can do that, assuming that doesn't conflict with, assuming you're not, committing a mortal sin on your own worldview. I want to go over that really quickly. If you really want to change your life, level up, beyond just quitting porn, join the movement through the Discord, subscribe to the channel, like the video, all this other stuff, and check out this other video.